Hi guys, today we are going to talk about why in the world we would sharpen a pencil this way versus kind of what you learned in elementary school. So when you're shading, it relies on a lot of things like pressure and then also your ability to cover a surface area. So if I'm shading with this guy right here, I'm not going to be able to cover ground very quickly because you can see kind of barely any lead is poking out from there. And then also too, because the angle is so extreme, right? There's a lot of pressure, even when I'm on the side, that's exerted on that pencil. When I look at this guy right here and I turn him to the side, right, you can even see the indent of that one right here. So if I start here and I switch here, I'm not only can cover a lot more ground, but you can see I'm not exerting quite as much pressure too. So if you're somebody who pushes really hard in their drawing, this is going to cure you of doing that. So I always tell my students that this guy will take you where you need to go, but this guy's going to get you there a lot faster and you'll be more in control of your pressure. It's sort of like the equivalent of trying to clean the bathroom with a toothbrush versus a mop. Right? It'll probably be clean, but it's going to take you a long, long time to get there. So when I'm shading kind of in that traditional way, you can see I don't have a huge amount of surface to deal with here. So if I want to get kind of a nice even shade here, I'm going to have to switch directions a lot, and I don't have a huge amount of my ability to control my pressure. So if I want to make a soft edge, that's an edge that gets where it fades into the tone of the paper, it's a little harder, and so I'm probably going to have to use an assist like a kneaded eraser to do that. Now, on the other hand, if I shade with this guy, you can see I can cover ground pretty quickly. I can even hold it like this. And I get a little bit more even tone. But I can also see how I can just go so lightly on that paper so it barely is there. Okay, so it's a lot easier to fill space quickly, and it's a lot easier to trave softer tones or soft edges because it requires a lot less pressure for you to be able to do that. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the equipment that you need to do that. First thing I do is, especially if I'm inside, is I have just a paper towel waiting. If you're outside, you don't need a paper towel. You can just shave it into the grassy area if you want to. These are actually great. This is just a nail file people use for doing their fingernails and so forth, but it's really great for sharpening pencils. So you'll need that. A sharp knife of some sort. So I just have a utility knife. And then of course your pencil. So I'm gonna just work with this for a second. I'm gonna put this guy aside because we aren't gonna use him just yet, but we will soon. Okay, so when I'm working with this, I will actually take the wood casing off my pencil about an inch away from the tip. And when I get to where the actual lead part is, I'm a little softer and not so aggressive. I just want the lead to kind of shift up. And you can pull it a little further back if you need to. If you're really good with a knife, you can probably sharpen 3/4 of it that way. I'm just going to take it back just a little further. Okay, and then this guy right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get some of my rough edges off, and I'm also going to make sure that it tapers fully. So I'm going to just do this really quickly right now, and this is again why you're going to need your paper towel. And I'm kind of rolling the pencil in my fingertip, and I'm using the top finger to kind of stabilize it. And the reason being is I want to kind of get it nice and even around so it doesn't have any kind of rough edges. All right, and then there, of course, is your sharpened tip. Okay, so I want to show you one other thing. I'm going to put this guy down for a second. If you have charcoal pencils, you can do the same thing. So you can see this guy. It's one of those ones where you unroll, and it's kind of nice because then your hand doesn't get dirty. And then I'll sharpen it with this nail file as well. And the other thing that you can sharpen is, if you're a big fan of drawing in charcoal, you can also sharpen your charcoal sticks this way too. Right now I'm using a little piece of vine charcoal that I made about 2 summers ago, but you can buy it online, of course. But then I can give myself a little bit of a sharper edge. This one won't always necessarily go according to plan because it's made out of real wood and real sticks, and so sometimes you might get a little flaking depending on if there's little faults in the woods, but you can get a nice little sharp end as well. And you can do that with a fatter one if you want to get a big, nice tip for drawing in some small details as well too. But you can also taper it too, so you can cover a lot of ground with your charcoal as well. Okay, I'm not going to finish that one, but you did get the idea. All right, one last thing. Some of you don't necessarily like to do this with your pencils, and good news for you, there's an alternative. So this guy right here is a mechanical pencil. You can kind of see him a little bit better there. And if I push the end, this lead comes out right there. And you can buy lead refills for it. They can come in little boxes like this. This is an older box, and they're also designated, like, this is a really good brand. This is Faber-Castell, but they have an HB, for example, but you can get them all sorts of different lead strengths here. And they have a little top here. You push from the bottom and you can kind of see your lead replacements come out. So if you have that instead and you want to sharpen it, you can kind of grip about 1 inch back like that, and then you can go ahead and sharpen it the same way. So the nice part of this is you don't need to worry about moving a lead casing. It's already gone for you, and that's another alternative to sharpening your pencil this way to make shading easier. See, now we got a nice little point on there. All right, well, good luck on your sharpening, and even better luck on your drawing. Please like and subscribe if you found this tutorial helpful. Thanks.